out in the grass. What are you doing, bud? Well, Carl, how you doing, buddy boy? Yeah? You say hi to everybody? Want to say hi to everybody? Yeah? This is one of my cats, Carl. The big bad boy. Yeah, huh? Yeah. As you can tell, Carl likes to talk. He's got himself a mouth on him, as well as a big attitude. All right, everyone, I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this special feature of the Urban Gardener. It's really unfortunate to have to do another video like this again this winter. Last winter, we had dealt with the tragedy of losing one of our special best friends in the garden, Bug. And it was really, really tough to deal with that. As I can tell, I put the video link right up there, and check out the video for Bug. We did a remembrance video of her last season. This year it's been maybe a bit harder, a bit more difficult to deal with, because we lost our other garden buddy, Carl. And I've been having a real hard time with this one, maybe just a little bit more so than Bug. I mean, I really loved Bug. Bug was just a blessing to have come here. I live on an alleyway here in Southern Oregon, and I was really blessed to have a couple of alley cats join my life and to join me in my garden adventure here. And it's really tough when you lose a friend. That's all I could really say. I'm just, you know, last year after losing Bug, Carl really took his place here in the alley, and really kind of became my best friend over the last year, and in ways that I didn't connect with that cat maybe in years previous. I'd just like to maybe take a look around here and talk about Carl just a little bit. I'm going to share with you some moments here that he had with us here on the Urban Gardener. Again, thank you so much for joining me and listening to this story. Hey, Carl, how you doing? You just out rolling around in the alleyway? It's been a little while since you've been in an episode of the Urban Gardener, huh? You missing some screen time?
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here.
What you doing, Carl?
I got time, it's clear to see.
Keeping an eye out on things?
From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me.
What you doing, Carl?
We meant to be
Hiding out under there in the shade.
in the great outdoors, forever free.
The sun out today. I can't, you gotta hide out. You get hot.
garlic with me, Carl?
Sometimes you need to go
Yeah? Plant some garlic?
and take a step back to see the truth
garden buddy.
around you. From a distance you can tell.
Carl, hey, dude. What's going on, bud? Hey, Carl. Bud, what's going on? Hey, dude, Carl.
So yeah, unfortunately, we lost our garden buddy, Carl, this last winter, right near Christmas time, almost literally like a week or so from when we lost Bug the year before. And it's just so hard to think about. It was really, really tough to deal with, and I'm not gonna go into any details on what happened or how Carl died. And the one thing I just have to share with everybody is that I feel a certain level of guilt towards the loss of Carl and what had happened to him. There are things and tragic accidents, as they would say, that happen, especially to an outdoor cat, to a cat that lives, in an alleyway and roams around the neighborhoods and stuff, even though I truly believe that, cats of that nature should be able to have that space and to be able to do those sort of things. It's hard to deal with the risks that are involved with having an outdoor cat. Now, there's so many things that are possible that could happen, and I assure you, most of the things that you're thinking about are probably not what happened to him. What happened to Carl really, in my view, is and was very preventable. I believe that, I have a certain level of blame to take in the loss of his life. And that's something that I'll be living with and dealing with as I work to make and do certain things that I do with more consideration. And that's pretty much what I can say about that, because and I'm sorry, when it comes down to it, I just have the hardest time dealing with what had happened to him. But I love him enough to be able to, stand up and say that, I know what my part in his death was. And for that, I am so sorry to him. I mean, at times it's just really unbearable. And to tell you the truth, this video is being made literally a couple of months after he passed. I haven't made very many videos, as people who watch the channel regularly. It's, been something that I've actually had to take some time away from doing. And luckily enough, I did have some video footage to be able to put out a couple of videos that I filmed before all of this in order to kind of fill in some space this winter. But it's been hard for me to get out and put this camera out. This is the first time I've put the camera on myself since that's happened. Like I said, as tragic as it is, as hard as it is to deal with, I am going to lift my spirits up, and I'm going to continue to do what I do and what I, literally have kind of dreamed of doing, in a sense, putting together this channel for everybody and to show my garden adventure and everything. I've got a lot of great ideas and great plans coming up, and I plan on continuing to do so. And in the spirit of my two greatest garden friends, Bug and Carl, we're gonna continue this adventure and make it the best we possibly can.
Hey, Carl. Hey, bud. What are you doing, my man? You gonna help me harvest some potatoes? Yeah? Want to help me harvest some potatoes? What are you up to, big dude? Huh? Let's come check everything out. Say hi to everybody. Yeah? Can you say hi to everybody?
Carl wants hangout time, so I think we'll take a little break.
What are you doing, man? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Nice and warm out today. Alright, I gotta dig into these potatoes here pretty quick, bud. Yeah. I gotta dig into these potatoes. Alright, keep going, keep going. Come on, bud. Alright, catch you later, bud. All right, so like I was saying, I live on an alleyway, and one of the things that happens when you live in alleys in most cities and whatnot is you get a bunch of stray cats and at times feral cats. Bug came to me as a stray cat, and Carl, he came to us as a little tiny kitten. And the story behind that was there were people and owners here in the area who were trying to eradicate feral cats that were living here in the alleyway. And my daughter and I were kind of worried about the methods that they might take in undertaking that deal. So we went about working for a couple of days to trap out a couple of the feral cats and relocate them to a place where they could probably continue their lives. A day or so later, after removing the feral cats, we kind of discovered some little noises coming from the back area, which would be back in this area where the neighbors live. And one of the other neighbors had helped find, along with my daughter, a couple of little kittens that were left behind because we had relocated their mother. And at that point, my daughter decided to take care of them, bottle feeding them, and taking really good care to make sure that they survived without their mother. My daughter had given one of the cats away to a friend who had taken care of that cat, and we decided to keep the young little male, feisty young little male cat. And my daughter blessed him with the name Carl. And everybody really thinks that the name Carl was unique and fun and cool, and we really loved that name. And he fit it. He fit his name for sure. And you know, I have to say though, really, you know, at first a little kitten around the house was not something I was really looking to have around. It was enough that I had been taking care of Bug, and as I said, I wasn't necessarily an animal person. So at that point in time, I decided that I should probably, you know, see if maybe my daughter could find a place for Carl to live as he got a little bit older and he grew up. But you know, as time passes by and you've got a little animal around, their personality's attached to you, and at that time then, you know, you really got to make that decision. And we decided that Carl was going to stick around, and we really enjoyed having him here. He may have, at times as a young male, been a real pain in the butt sometimes, but you know what, he really was a great character. Carl. Hey. Are you gonna say hi? Hey, you should look both ways before you cross the street. You almost got that, didn't you? You've been rolling around in the dirt. Yeah, been rolling around in the dirt.
So Carl, you know, he really fastly became a part of our family and our garden adventure here on the Urban Gardener as well. Bug was sure to make sure that he was raised well enough here in the alleyway to know how to get along and basically find his place and claim his territory. And that's something he really did well. What do you see, dude? What do you see, Carl? What's going on, bud? You keeping an eye on everything out here? So one of the things that Carl loved to do, and that I think I'm gonna miss the most, even though he scared the bejesus out of me all of the time, Carl would hunker down and hide right here on the other side of this bush. And he'd wait for me to walk through here and attack me right about there. Run up, smack at my legs, and then come back around and just stare at me, knowing that he got me. And he'd get me and scare me probably at least over half of the time. I mean, there were times I knew he was there and I knew it was coming, and I'd play along with him. But a lot of the times he really got me. I'm gonna really miss those moments. So yeah, Carl, he had a lot of character. In fact, one of his greatest traits, greatest things about him was he was a very talkative cat. That cat loved to tell you anything and everything, all these different stories about his adventures around the neighborhood when he'd come back, you know, as a young male cat. They'd take off for a day or two and you'd wonder where he's at, what he's up to. But he'd come back and be so full of energy and just tell you about everything. And that's one thing I really miss about not seeing him coming around, lately and then telling me about the different things that he's been involved in. Carl was, like I said, a young male cat who really loved being a cat. And that was one thing you could tell about Carl and his character and everything, was that he loved being a cat. I think, that's just one of the great things more about him, was how much he really kind of, was a cat in a sense. He didn't care about things at times. The times that you would expect a cat to not care about anything at all, he was right on it. But then there were times where he was just one of the most loving and most caring and considerate little animals that you would see. And I really valued that about him. And that's one of the main reasons why I became so attached to him over time. I really miss a lot of those things about his character. Like I said, it's hard to not have him come around and tell me about what his latest adventure was. And yeah. You're gonna roll around in that nice soil, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, Carl. Checking out the space here. No more corn. Wonder where all that corn went. Now another memory from this last gardening season. Summertime was coming around and I plant out the leeks here. And we get them started so that they can grow and get big enough so that during the winter time they can really plump up and get large like they are. So we're probably about ready to harvest these leeks out pretty soon. But I plant leeks all the way around the front edge of this normally. Did that the year before. This year, old Carl, I think, wandered up one of those young leek seedlings right up front and probably took a bite out of them, as I mentioned in an earlier video from this season. And I think he probably chewed on them like a cat likes to do. They like to chew on grass and grass blades and plants that have blade-like leaves. And I bet you when he got in and chewed on those leeks, that onion flavor just really didn't set well with him. So Carl went about and dug out every single one of these front leeks. And, as I mentioned in the video, he just did not like that. And he did not like that flavor at all. I like the leeks. We're gonna harvest these ones out. But as I look at this open space every time, I have a little chuckle about thinking of little Carl being all upset and digging those out. And as I mentioned in the video earlier this season, Carl was a great garden cat. He didn't mess with much of anything. This was probably one of the only problems I ever had with Carl in the garden. Mind you, it didn't bother me at all. I still got some good leeks to make some soup with. Hey Carl, what are you doing, buddy? You looking after the garden? More like napping in the garden, huh? It's more like it. Yep, and that's what a cat likes to do right there. Thanks, Carl. So Carl's spirit here in our urban garden will live on and on and on forever. Right along with Bug, I've placed both of them here in this alleyway to live eternally. And I will always be grateful for their contribution to my life and to here on the channel the first couple of years. You know, we'll always be able to look back on some of those first episodes in our first couple of seasons and be blessed with the memory of those two wonderful, wonderful cats. I want to thank you all so much for joining me and watching this special feature and helping me pay tribute to one of my best friends. And I really hope to see you again on the very next episode. Please come along with our garden adventure. Keep on growing. What are you doing, buddy boy? Well, do you see something you don't like? Is there a dog? You see a dog? Do you see a dog? You don't like no dogs, do you? You go let him know, dude. Buddy boy. What you doing? Yeah? What's going on, Carl? Huh? You just chilling, buddy? Yeah?